In this video we're going to make the background to our game. Now there's a few little tricky elements in this, so we just need to make sure that we are paying full attention and following the instructions accurately. So in my game I'm going to create a new part of the background. Now ordinarily we'll make backgrounds in the backdrops, but we're not going to do this. We're going to make the backgrounds as sprites. So I'm going to paint a new sprite. And I'm just going to make sure I'm zoomed out so the whole screen is part of my sprite. And before I actually draw anything, I'm just going to make a splodge of colour and choose the colour that I want. So I'm going to make my background fully red. So I'm just going to paint a little bit of red here. We'll delete this later, but I'm just going to use this as my colour palette. So for my edges of my game, the bits to crash into, I'm just going to use a shape, and I'm going to fill, and I'm going to use the ink dropper to choose that red. Same for the outline. I want my colour to be exactly the same. This is why we've used this splodge of colour here. So now I've selected this colour, and what I can do is just delete the original bit of ink that we had on our area here. So I'm drawing a block of colour. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to purposely draw it from off the page, which it won't let me do. So right up to the edge, as much as I can, a long line just like that. I'm going to repeat that right at the bottom. I want to get as close to the edge as we can. There. In fact, I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger, and you can drag it off to the edge. Same for this top one. If you select that, we can drag it over the edge to make sure we've got the complete area. So the next stage to do, and I've purposely made my first bit of the background just having the top and bottom, no obstacles in there, and we can see my sprite is here. I'm just going to name this background 0. This is going to be our template for all of the backgrounds, and once it's on my stage I can just move it down onto the game area, so we've got a top and a bottom to our game. You might find that you want to move your click button up. So this is background 0 just here. I now want the next part of my game, and that's, I'm just going to duplicate, and I'm going to call this background 1, BG1. The only difference on this one is I am going to just draw in a little obstacle for my Flappy Ghost to have to fly through. So my ghost can fly through this space here. That's all we've got with background 1. And again, I can duplicate my background 0. Background 2 is already called that, and put in a couple other little obstacles for it to have to try and fly through. So you can add many more backgrounds, increasing complexity as the game goes on, or keeping it relatively simple. But this is the first stage to create all the different backgrounds, and what will happen is background 1 we will move to be off the screen. Just keep moving it to this area. Same for background 2, we can just move that over to the right off the screen for the time being, because when they all start scrolling, that's where they're going to appear from. So that's the first stage of making the scrolling background for your Flappy game.